Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. This week we are talking about Diagon Alley. So if you were around last week, we were doing house points. For those of you that have been here for a while, you know that we run house points. So if you comment hearts and the color of your Hogwarts house underneath, you earn house points for your appropriate house. And last month's winner was Hufflepuff again, and we were going to do Diagon Alley per Hufflepuff's request. So today we're going to be going through the history of Diagon Alley and the shops one at a time.
Diagon Alley.
You guys know I'm a really big dates person, so I always try to find the most accurate date that I can find, and unfortunately for a lot of these shops we don't have exact establishment dates, but for Diagon Alley as a whole, it is believed that it was built sometime in the early 1500s. So it's been around for a long time, from the start of Wizards. One of the main ways to get to Diagon Alley is through Leaky Cauldron, which is on Charing Cross Road, which was built sometime in the 19th century, assumably meaning that it was built around Diagon Alley, that as this Muggle community was built, it was essentially, I assume there was wizards in the architecture meetings where they were deciding what went where or how they were able to kind of continue to disguise it. I don't know. But Diagon Alley came way before, and then sometime in the 19th century, the rest of the road was built. And as we all know, Leaky Cauldron isn't something that is noticed by Muggles walking by. It's almost like they don't even realize that it's there. Today, if you were to go to Leaky Cauldron, it is owned by Hannah Abbott, who is now Hannah Longbottom, and they run that as landlord and landlady of Leaky Cauldron. So space can be rented in the alley. It's probably a pretty steep price. We don't know exactly what it might be. It's probably a pretty steep price. We don't exactly know what it is, but also assumably a lot of people probably own their shops. They've been here long enough. They've been here, centuries if you're the Ollivanders, but they maybe own it. It would be kind of ridiculous if you had to rent for centuries and centuries, generation after generation. There's a lot more shops in here than you might think. There's a couple duplicates, couple repeats of things. There's quite a few apothecaries, quite a few potion places, things for first hand, second hand, if you want to buy something used. Honestly, anything a wizard could ever need is in this one spot, and direct connection to Knockturn Alley with a whole other section of dark arts and different things like that. You'll probably find me in Knockturn Alley, but before we get to that, let's talk about our Diagon Alley. Now, I believe there are two places that you could go to purchase a broom. There's broomsticks, like STIX, and then there's a secondhand broom shop. So that would be your go-to location for either of those. As you probably know, first years are not allowed to bring their brooms, so you probably won't need that in your first year, but going down our list for back to school supplies, we need some quills. So for that, you would go to, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Manuus Quills, and it's right next to the robe shop, so let's go on over to Madame Malkin's robe store for all occasions to get our robes after that. You could also go to Scribulus Writing Instruments. They have quills, they have everything that you could need, writing instruments, the ink that you need, the paper that you need, everything to take those notes, to draw those drawings, to pass notes in class, whatever you feel like doing in your free time, to write your fanfic. Write your fanfic on it. Each year you have quite a long list of books that you have to go get, so you would probably go to Flourish and Blots for pretty much anything you would need for your school books, for casual reading, where you'll find Hermione if you need to meet her that day, but it's everybody's favorite bookshop. Less popular, but still incredibly cool, is Obscurus Books, which, if you remember from last week's video, is the bookshop that hired Newt Scamander to travel the world and write Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So you could probably find some pretty interesting books there. And there is also a secondhand bookshop if you don't want to pay those outrageous prices for a book you're just going to use for 1 year. It's not that big of a deal to buy a used book if you're only going to read it once. Now, I believe there are at least 3 apothecaries in the entire space where you can get your potion ingredients. Now, there's one on the north side. The other one is Mr. Mulpepper's Apothecary, and that one was established in 1016. And then their competitors, who they actually share a door with, is Slug and Jitter's Apothecary. So honestly, between these 3 shops, you really could make just about anything. Now, say you're in a rush, you don't really have time to make the potion yourself or know how to make the potion yourself, and you have some sort of event coming up and you've got warts and whatnot all over your face. You would go to Madame Primfernel's Beautifying Potions. for warts and everything in between. Then we also have Potions for All Afflictions, another place where you can buy pre-made potions and not just the ingredients to make it yourself. But if you are making it yourself, you'll need to go to Pottage's Cauldron shop to get your own cauldron. Now, if you have something a bit funkier going on, you would go to the healer's shop, and the person that owns it actually believes that it is their duty to help others. So if you come in with some sort of affliction or another, they'll help you for free in the shop because, like I said, they feel like it's their duty to help others. And honestly, free healthcare, guys. 10 out of 10. I would move to Diagon Alley for that healthcare. And then we also have a secondhand robe shop. So again, if you're growing fast, I mean, honestly, you are in your hormonal teenage adolescent years. Everybody's hitting puberty at once. You're growing like weeds. Just get some secondhand robes until you kind of get closer to full height. Granted, I've been wearing the same shoes since I was in 6th grade. I literally still have a pair of flip-flops from 6th grade because my feet have not grown since I was like, how old are you in 6th grade? 11, 10, 11, I think. So I don't know, maybe you could get robes and just grow into them, but you could always get secondhand and then get some new ones, probably your 4th year. Now going off to school, if you like your parents and you actually want to contact them, you probably need to get an owl if your family doesn't already have one. You would go to Ilop's Owl Emporium to get your owl, which assumably is where Hagrid got Hedwig for Harry. Now at Ilop's Owl Emporium, you can get owls, but you can also get treats, food, cages, anything that your little owl pet might need. But then there's also the owl post office where you can send mail, but also purchase an owl. And then you'd go to the Emporium for, you know, all their food and shit. Magical Menagerie is another place where you can get tons of pet supplies. So more than just owls. If you have a Kneazle, if you have a rat, if you have a toad, all your pet supplies would be found here. While there are a lot of duplicates of all these other stores, there is one and only one wand shop, and that is Ollivander's. We don't know when exactly they came to Diagon Alley, but they've been making one since 382 BC. Unless you're bringing a family wand that's been passed down, you would go to Ollivander's for your first one, just like pretty much anybody that goes to Hogwarts. Now, if you're actually one of the students that plays Quidditch at Hogwarts, you would go to Quality Quidditch Supplies. It's where you can get bludgers, you can get goggles, you can get anything that you might need for a Quidditch match to make yourself top of the line to execute your skills the way you need to. And again, as far as secondhand shops, there's also the junk shop, which sells a wide variety of secondhand things, whereas there are stores that have specific, secondhand robes, secondhand books. This place has, pretty much everything in one shop. It's the junk shop. Now on to the less school things and more fun things. You would really find me at Florian Fortescue's ice cream shop. I love ice cream. Mint chocolate chip is my personal favorite. And we also know that Dumbledore used this shop to kind of keep an eye on Harry because the portrait that was in the ice cream shop and the one that was in the headmaster's office, everything connected to one another, and he was able to kind of make sure Harry was safe. Interestingly enough, there was actually a travel agency within Diagon Alley. So Globus Mundi Travel Agency is where wizards could go to plan their vacations. They tell you if you should take flu powder, if you should take a port key, I don't know, one of the above. I don't really know exactly what they would do, but it's a travel agency, so. Now I don't think I would like British tea. I like regular tea, but I am more of a tea person than I am a coffee person. Rosalie Tea Bag looks like a snazzy little tea shop where I guess you could either just buy tea, sit in, have a nice little cafe day, or go home with your own tea leaves and make it at home. There's also Sugar Plum's Sweet Shop, which obviously sells a bunch of candies. Great place to be, I'm sure. And then there's ZA, which is just ZA coffee shops. For all my coffee lovers, there is a coffee shop, don't you worry. There's actually yet another bookstore, Wizhard, Wizzhard bookshop is another bookshop where you can find other obscure books that probably aren't in your daily reading list for class, but are probably still wildly interesting. There was also a spot for the ministry where they do, their press, their announcements, that kind of thing. So there's the ministry press room, and then there's also an office for the Daily Prophet there to kind of have a base in Diagon Alley as well. So those things kind of just sit there and they work on their own. Twilfit and Tattings is a snazzy little clothing shop that Narcissa Malfoy particularly liked. Definitely pureblood, definitely elite, definitely high-end. That's like the designer shop in Diagon Alley. We could never forget everybody's favorite, Weasley's Wizarding Wheezes. your go-to shop for any sort of prank, any sort of random obscure need. Honestly, a great way to spend a Tuesday afternoon if you're bored in Diagon Alley. Best place to be, and as we know, Ron helped George take over after the loss of Fred. Now, as far as the dark little corner that is Knockturn Alley, we know that Borgin and Burke's is there. We know the kind of creepy shit that they have in their shop, but let's talk about just a few other shops that are probably have evidence of existing in Knockturn Alley. There's the Coffin House, which sells things that are kind of related to necromancy, kind of other dark arts objects. Another shop named Cobb and Webb's, which is actually a really cute name. I really like that. Again, another place to buy random dark art bullshit. Interestingly enough, I believe there's a tattoo shop, Marcus Gar's Indelibles Tattoos, located in Diagon Alley. That would be a really... You think that's where everybody goes to get their dark marks? Like goes to get, is it on the left arm? Goes to get their little, that's a cool idea. There was another shop called Noggin and Bonts that sold shrunken heads, probably where they got the one on the night bus, I guess. And I guess in Leaky Cauldron. Now this next shop sounds like it was named by Phoebe from Friends. It's called Distill Phalanges. Sounds like the fake name she uses, but it sells bones. Bones like this. Probably not colored like this, but other than that, it's a lot of repeats, there's a little pub, there's a beard trimming shop, there's a place for wigs and hats, there's all kinds of stuff in Knockturn Alley that's just really the most interesting. That's really kind of what I have for you guys today. I hope this was interesting. I hope this was expansive. I hope you enjoyed the research and what I found. So next week we will have our very first Marvel video. I'm super excited about it. I've already started my research for it, so I'm just really looking forward to what the future has in store for all of us. I could never thank you guys enough for being here from the very beginning, for being here from my shitty editing, and thank God we all have Bear now doing all of this stuff to help. So make sure to comment thank you Bear and to comment the hearts in the house colors for house points. But yeah, that's what we got today. I love you all. Bye.